Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're enjoying the shift in the weather. Hope you're enjoying as much as you can your time at home. Hope you're getting out, you're able to walk around a little bit, do some exercise, um, and that you're feeling in good spirits. Thank you so much to all of you who have been uploading, really helpful. I can't stress that enough. For those of you, we're coming up to the end of the week. For those of you that tend to like to do everything at once, um, that's fine. But do remember that if it all comes in at once, then it might take me a second just to go through everything properly. But don't feel like I'm not looking at it. I absolutely am. It just takes me a while to pick through everything when it all comes in at once. So today we're carrying on with our tasks for the week. I'll remind us of some of the Zooms first, as I usually do. So I'll go straight back to the weekly schedule. And so I'm meeting again with group 3 and 4, but today we're going to be focusing on math at 9:30 and 10:30. Then at 11, we're going to have a whole class Zoom. And we've done this previously before in school. We're starting a new social studies learning journey with the National Trust. So it's with Miss Ridgway again, who you guys will remember from the last time that we did it. And so the reason I have extended our due date is, but I don't want to extend it any further, is because we're actually moving on to the next unit, which is going to be all about the economy and money. So if you know what the economy means, maybe you can start thinking about what you know the word economy means, because she might be asking us a little bit about what we know about that to start off with. So that's going to be at 11. And don't forget, to the guys that are meeting Miss Pitcher, that you have your Kenan and Kira, you have your meetings with her. Okay, so today in our genre study, we're actually going back to our reading lens. So for the last 2 days, we've been thinking about planning for gathering ideas and planning for our writing. Today, we're going to be doing a little bit of reading work. So last time we did this, we were thinking about how the whole story was impacted by the beliefs, traditions, and social behaviors of a culture. Today, we're going to be paying attention to what the characters do. And I will go over to here we go. So this will help us to understand what type of characters they are. So we're going to be thinking about their behavior and how we can put that into a character trait. So we know that people usually do things based on the way that they behave or based on the traits that they have. So we're going to look at some of these different stories, and I use the example of My Name is Yoon, and I noticed that Yoon wrote each word that she liked over and over and over again. And I think that tells me that she was committed. She was a committed student to practicing learning her writing in English. So I would say that a character trait that Yoon had was committed to learning. She was a committed student. What you're going to do is you're going to listen to two more stories and look at the main character and notice what might have happened or what they did in the story. So I noticed the character's name, what did they do? And I think that tells me that he or she is, and then a trait. So we're seeing if we can match their behavior to personality traits. This also is helpful because you will have just chosen your character's personality traits over the last few days, and that will cause them to behave in a certain way. So if someone is selfish, perhaps, then maybe in the story you could see that they didn't share something, and then you can say that a personality trait of that character is that they're selfish. So you can pick from the list that's in here from Monday of all of these different stories that we've looked at. You can pick from any of them. There's 5 there that you can pick from. Pick 2 and complete those 2 sentences with that, please. The other thing I'd like you to do today is continuing on with your probing questions from math. So yesterday you would have really worked on explaining those first three. Today you're going to be looking at the probing questions, and you're going to do the next one. You might do, sorry for a sec, there we go. You might do both. So if it takes you ages to answer this first one, then that's okay. But if you feel like I've got that and I can do the next one today, by all means, because then tomorrow what you can do is you can work on extension. However, if you haven't done any of the probing questions yet and you didn't do yesterday's, please do this first slide before you do the next. So today's one says, Captain Conjecture says 0 and 7/10 is exactly the same as 0 and 70/100. Is she correct? Why? Why not? Explain your answer and show how you know. So you're first saying, is she correct or not? The second part, you're explaining in a sentence why. After you've explained in a sentence, you're going to show it using a diagram and a place value chart. So there are three things that you have to do to answer that question. You're not just going to say wrong or right. You're actually going to explain your work. If you move on to the next one today, it says, Teddy says to convert a fraction to a percentage, you just need to put a percent sign next to the numerator. So you just take the top number of the fraction and put a percent sign. Is Teddy correct? And explain your answer. So if I had 3/10, could I just put 3%? Or if I had 3/100, could I just put 3%? So explain whether Teddy's right or not, and give as many examples as you can for this. So if you move on to that one today, great, because then you can do some extension tomorrow. If you still have catching up to do, then just make your way through it as much as you can. Go back here. And then the other thing I had was the science page 2. So on Tuesday, I explained about going through some of those questions to end up our unit before we start the next one. If you moved on to some of page 2, great. If you haven't yet, you can look in the science folder. It's right there. And you're answering the questions to the best you can in full sentences when it is required. So, and also, if you have the diagram and you can't do it on overlay, just write A, B, C, and D. You don't have to actually draw out the diagram. Okay, great. So I'd like you to finish that today so that I can see it by the end of the week. By the end of the week tomorrow. Yeah. Again, thank you so much to all of you who have been uploading. And I do expect that I'll see like chunks of work today and tomorrow for those closing up the week. Don't forget, you're going to have your spelling test tomorrow. So hopefully you've been revising for that. In the literacy section, I also put an additional practice to the rules that happen when you're adding suffixes. For those of you that want to take that a little bit further, we will be continuing with adding suffixes as a spelling principle next week, because as you'll see, we were thinking about words that end in E and how we would add suffixes to those, but there are different rules depending on different words. So we're going to be carrying on thinking about those over the next week as well. So don't forget to practice that as well. And hopefully I will have seen your writing about reading that I wanted everyone to start yesterday. I'd like it to be done by tomorrow so that I can see, and that can either be your cartoon, a letter, a quote and response, point, evidence, explanation, or a lean in. So please try and get that done as well today. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you all at 11.